And then we've got Pastor Rick sitting in with us. So.
Hello.
Hi.
And I finally get to meet the infamous Alex. Alex, how are you doing?
I'm doing
This isn't
good.
Alex Jones. This is Alex Wassell.
No, Alex, I'm sure. I know you're glad to meet me.
Oh, man. Don't make coffee spew out of my nose when I'm on air. We don't have a coffee spew button. We don't even have a cough button.
That's for sure, Rick.
Yeah.
See, I told you he was glad to meet me.
Okay.
Everyone is.
Ken, you going to call back? We're waiting on pins and needles. But
I'm sitting in the wrong chair. The pins and needles are over in the next one.
Yeah. There you go. No, that's a Coke bottle. Yeah. So, Derek, do you have the audio for? Oh, I'm sorry. Way out of whack here. Way out of whack. Got to take care of some business here. Okay. For one thing, you want to go on a regular basis to thedailydrift.com so that you can get
the news you need to know.
Yes.
And I only say that because I know Alex would forget.
That's right.
Okay, well, actually, yeah, he didn't catch Joe's cue, but he's never missed a mind. But okay, so it's a Pavlovian response around here anymore, you know? So anyways, we need to pay attention to one of our sponsors so that we'll get paid and you will go and have a good time, which is what you deserve. You deserve to go to Burroughs Roadhouse and have a meal, right? It's a great place to eat. It's a destination. It's almost like a historic spot to go and eat. The Burroughs Corporation had set this up and the whole property as a resort area, so you know it's not your run-of-the-mill diner. This is a good place to eat. They have a Sunday brunch buffet. Sunday night they have a barbecue from 3 to 9 p.m. If you're interested in gluten-free meals, they have a gluten-free menu. They have pizza. They have coupons in the current newspaper, which you need to avail yourself of. $15 off any 4 dinner entrees or 15% off Sunday brunch. Take advantage of that. It's Burroughs Roadhouse, and the phone number is established 1928. The phone number is 810-227-6000, or go to www.burroughs-roadhouse.com.
So let me understand this.
Yes.
If you get a meal with gluten in it, it's free?
I need to talk to Jim about that. I don't think that's true, folks. Don't quote me on that. Let me read that again.
Is Ed McMahon in the studio?
100% gluten-free.
Free meals. There you go.
Well, you guys take your chances with that. All I can tell you is the food's good.
Right.
And don't tell them you heard that one on the Drift Radio Show or the current newspaper. So, I don't know if you caught this last weekend or not, but a pilot went on a joyride. And it's kind of a sad thing, but the thing is he didn't sound like your typical sad, depressed suicide note. The guy left an audio suicide note as he's doing barrel rolls through the skies of Seattle. You heard of this, right?
Yeah, I heard about it.
I saw the video.
Yeah, it's just, I was flabbergasted, frankly, by his attitude through the whole thing. Like, when did he make the decision? When he went up, did he decide how he was going to end it? At one point, he said he was going to come in for a landing.
I think the second he realized he forgot that he didn't know how to land, he made a decision.
Could be. Derek, would you play his, I hate to put it this way, his final words?
I got a lot of people that care about me, and it's going to disappoint them to hear that I did this. I would like to apologize to each and every one of them. Just a broken guy. Got a few screws loose, I guess. Never really knew it until now. I'm going to land it, in a safe kind of manner. I think I'm going to try to do a barrel roll, and if that goes good, I'll just go nose down and call it a night.
Well, Rich, before you do that, let's think about this. I got another pilot coming up, Pilot Joel, here in just a minute or two, I hope, and we'll be able to give you some advice on what to do next.
Just kind of lightheaded, dizzy. Man, and, the sights went by so fast, too. I was thinking, I'm going to have this moment of serenity, I'll be able to take in all the sights. There's a lot of pretty stuff, but I think they're prettier in a different context.
It just doesn't strike me as a suicidal person.
Well, I think now I'm talking as a pastor here. The word I caught is I'm a broke. He says he's broke. He's broken. And you know, that's just sad. I mean, going through life, I will sit there and say everybody goes through a point in their life where they realize they're broken, and you know, and then comes a time for choices, and a lot of different choices. Now, Ed, you and I can't speak for Alex because I don't know him well enough, but I can speak for you and I think I can speak for Alex. When we decided we were broken in lives, we turned our life over to Jesus.
Exactly.
You know, and now I'm going to get very pastorish on you. I remember that day for me back in 1978. I remember the June 18th. That day where I realized I was a broken man and turned my life over to Christ. I never experienced love anywhere in my life like I did that day. And it's sad when people go through this. People say, what does a suicidal man sound like? I'm telling you, it sounds like just like any other broken man that doesn't know their directions. They don't know where to find directions. And this man, he's up in an airplane, and that's a wrong place to be when you can't find direction in life, is up there solo in an airplane.
Yeah.
And I think he hit it on the head when he said he was broken. I just wish he would have looked for an alternate route to deal with that brokenness.
Yeah, I mean, the self-awareness that he knew that he was broken, he probably had a few screws loose. It's just, man, Alex?
Well, the sad part is he didn't allow himself to get better.
No.
To rebuild, to have that moment where he could decide, I'm going to fix myself, and I need help to do that.
I knew a very dear friend of mine, very dear friend of mine, for whatever reason, decided that he was too broken to be fixed, is all I can guess, because he and with his wife in the house took his own life. People who make this decision are not really thinking about the impact that it's going to make on others. He even mentioned...
He did, though.
But he says, they're going to be upset, and I apologize. But I don't think he really could have understood the impact that it was going to have on lives, because if he did, he'd realize a simple verbal apology is not going to take care of it. Matter of fact, that would just compound the problem. Sit there saying, well, he said he was sorry, but I'm his brother, I'm sorry, that sorry isn't enough. In real life, that sorry would just compound the issue going back. Actually, it did more to punish the people, the survivors.
I'm not convinced. I know that when I listened to the full audio, at one point he was concerned that of all the controls, he didn't know where they were on the airplane, was the pressurization of the cabin.
And he starts saying, I'm dizzy and lightheaded.
Right. And I don't know. When he said, I'm thinking about a landing, I'm going to put the nose down. And he talked earlier about, I know when I land this, I'm going to go to prison. Did he kill himself to avoid going to prison, or did he just pass out after the barrel roll? I don't know. You could do a barrel roll, and
it's a lot of G-force.
It is, especially with the low pressurization in the cabin. Yep.
Well,
I don't know. I hate to judge him.
Well, no,
except that he's a criminal who stole an airplane and destroyed.
There's certain things we can sit there and
shareholders' value.
He's no longer alive.
Yeah. He
understood at one point or another that this might be a one-way ride, and that if it wasn't a one-way ride, he was going to jail.
To be honest with you, I'm totally impressed that the guy could fly the airplane. I'm just totally impressed,
I used to be an FE, a flight engineer on a P-3. Mm-hmm. Hardest part about flying an airplane is takeoff and landing. After you're in the air, hey, just watch out for the birds.
He took it off. Yeah. Actually, I've heard that takeoff isn't as hard as landing either.
Yeah, landing is a controlled crash every time.
Yep.
His wasn't so controlled. No. I feel sorry for the family. My prayers go out to his family.
Amen.
But, I think this speaks to a lot of people out there in different ways. And I think that what we have to do is tell people that if you're feeling this broken, there's other alternate ideas to use other than taking your life, because the damage it does when you do that is just astronomical to those around you.
Okay.
I think it's important that we work on healing and moving past those low parts in your life. And I'm sure Pastor Rick has all sorts of ideas for that, but that's the bottom line.
Mm-hmm. We talked about suicide a few months ago when Joe called in and talked about his attempt. Joe Leonard, which I'm not inviting the call back, but I'm just...
Yeah, we all know you don't like Joe. Joe's always welcome to call my show. We like Joe.
You're next.
We like Joe.
So, switching gears here, I want to go to a more cheerful subject, okay? You okay?
Yes.
So let's talk about the church, the Catholic Church, and priest molesting.
Tell me how this is more cheerful.
No, I guess I can't. Well, in this context, you're going to use this opportunity to read you something that I wrote, and as kind of self-serving, but you may find it interesting. Put it on my blog, and the title of it is How It Happens. And I say, I was 15, and it was a Saturday afternoon, and as a good Catholic boy, an altar boy, I went to confession. I'm pretty sure the priest knew who I was, despite the screen that separated us. I started out the confession as normal and got to the point where I had to get the heavy burden of my horrible sin off my chest. I told the priest that I had masturbated. He let me know what a serious deal this was and offered to discuss it with me in the rectory after confession was over. Probably the only thing that saved me from any abuse was that I was too embarrassed to meet him face to face over the issue that I had confessed to him. It's interesting to note that he quit the priesthood a few weeks later to be a shoe salesman. I wonder how many of my classmates fell for it. I don't know. Never heard. As an addendum, I remember that as an altar boy who served Mass before classes began, we often wondered whether this priest was going to show up for the morning Mass on time, and I would often have to go to the rectory door where the housekeeper would inform me that the pastor would be there shortly. We knew he had been drinking. Adults did that. The next priest, interestingly enough, was a family friend of ours. The guy went to grade school and high school before he went to the seminary with my sister, my older sister. His name was Marv Jositis. And I always wondered what happened to Marv. I know that he had left the priesthood. Father Marv had left the priesthood, and he had taught religious studies at Monroe Community College. You never ran into him, did you? You were out in that area, Newport, Monroe. Okay. So anyways, as an ex-priest, he married, and he taught religion. I looked him up just to see what happened to him, and he wrote a book, Breaking Grand Silence. A former Catholic priest speaks out. On the cover has a picture of, I don't know if this is him. It looks like it could have been him because you only see the nose and mouth down with red tape over the lips. And, it's kind of interesting that he knew something was going on and he left the priesthood over it. So, some people.
Yeah, it's, I grew up in a Catholic church, too. I left the Catholic Church in 1978. I was on my way to St. John's before I left the Catholic Church. I was on my way to St. John's Seminary. That was the plans. I was going to be the family priest. Being brought up in a primarily Irish family. I know my last name is German, but I'm more Irish than anything else. My mother's family is Slattery. Every family needs their own priest. All right.
Mm-hmm. Right. I was on that road trip.
Yeah, I was on that road to become a priest. I came to the point where my theology did not agree with the Catholic Church, so I thought the worst thing in the world I could do to the Catholic Church is to become a priest because I don't agree with it. Mm-hmm. But I will say, growing up, the priest that I grew up under, and I was an altar boy too, was a wonderful man. Very wonderful man. Matter of fact, he's the one that got me into deciding to look at biblical theology, which is really unique. To have a Catholic priest try to get you into biblical theology and not the catechism.
Yeah,
you know.
Hey, I know some born again.
Oh yeah,
Catholic priests,
and we'll be talking about that on my show.
We'll
have Pastor Max on our show, and we're going to talk about. There are a lot of people
Stay tuned, folks.
in the Catholic Church that are going to go to heaven. We're not this type that says only Baptists are going to heaven. I'm not too sure about most of them.
Yeah.
But
how about Lutherans? We got Ken from Livonia.
Oh no, Luther's got his own little house on top of a hill. He's going to be all by himself up there, aren't you, Ken? Hi, Ken. It's Pastor Rick.
Absolutely.
Told you.
Well, the rest of us will have instructions to be quiet up there so that it doesn't spoil it for him, right?
Well, I will say one difference between us and a lot of the other churches. I will hold firm to the belief that our doctrine is the truth, and it's all in its purity. And other churches, when they talk, they never admit to that belief. In fact, when I was confirmed, I was asked the question, Do you believe the teachings of the evangelical